Welcome to AI Explains. Imagine you're trying to draw a map of the world. But instead of the world being a simple sphere, imagine it stretches out in 1,000 different directions at once.
Yeah.
How do you even begin to draw that on a flat piece of paper?
You can't. Not really. Not without making a total mess of it.
Right.
That's the nightmare of data visualization. If you just squash it all down, everything lands on top of everything else.
Okay.
You lose all the meaning.
Exactly. And that's the challenge we're unpacking today with a tool that, honestly, is kind of magical. It's called tSNE.
Which stands for T-Distributed Stochastic Neighbor Embedding. It's a bit of a mouthful.
It really is.
But the paper by Lawrence van der Maaten and Jeffrey Hinton basically gave us a way to see complex data.
Let's break that down then. The goal is simple, right? Take incredibly complex, high-dimensional data and turn it into a 2D picture a human can actually look at and understand.
Precisely. It lets us see the math. But to get why it's so important, you first have to understand the huge problem it was designed to solve. The paper calls it the crowding problem.
Okay, the crowding problem. This is where the geometry gets a little weird, I imagine.
It does. I mean, think about it. In a space with thousands of dimensions, there's just so much more room. Points can be far apart in all these different ways.
So when you try to force all of that onto a tiny 2D screen,
There's not enough space to keep all those original distances.
it's like taking everyone spread out in a massive football stadium and trying to cram them all into one tiny elevator.
That's the perfect analogy. Everyone gets crushed together, and in data, all your nice, distinct groups just get mashed into a single blob in the center. The whole map becomes useless.
So how does tSNE solve this elevator problem? How does it give everything space?
Well, it has this very clever trick. It's the T-distributed part of the name. It measures how similar points are using a special curve that has heavy tails.
Heavy tails. So in simple terms, that just means it allows for more outliers. It's more forgiving about things being far apart.
That's a great way to think about it. In the original high-dimensional space, it's very strict about who counts as a neighbor. It uses a tight bell curve.
Okay.
But on the 2D map, it switches to this heavy-tailed curve, and that gives points that are only moderately far apart a lot more breathing room.
So it's actively pushing them further away on the map than they really are.
Yeah.
Just to create these clear gaps between groups.
It exaggerates the separation, exactly. And that brings us to the second trick, the spring analogy from the paper.
This is the stochastic part, right?
Yeah.
It sounds like there's some randomness involved.
There is. Imagine all your data points are connected to each other with springs.
Yeah.
If 2 points are very similar, the spring is strong and it pulls them close together. If they're different, the spring pushes them apart.
Ah, so it's an optimization process. The computer is just letting all these points push and pull on each other until they settle into the best possible arrangement.
That's it. It runs a simulation, letting them all wiggle around, that's the stochastic or random part, until they find a stable layout. And because of that heavy tail trick, the points that don't belong together get pushed far, far away.
And you're left with these clear islands of data.
You are.
So did they have a killer example to prove this worked?
Oh, they had the perfect one. The MNIST dataset.
The handwritten numbers.
Yep. 6,000 images of handwritten digits from 0 to 9. They fed all these raw pixel values into tSNE without any labels,
And what happened?
where older methods just made a big, messy ball of data, tSNE. Well, it was incredible. It created this map with perfect little islands. All the ones were in one cluster over here. All the 7s were in another over there.
Wow. So it just figured out the difference between a 1 and a 7 by looking at the pixels.
It gets even better. This is what's so amazing about it. If you zoomed in on the island of 1s, you could see it had organized them by how they were written.
You're kidding.
No. The perfectly straight ones were on one side of the cluster, and the ones that were really slanted were on the other. It found the hidden structure inside the group.
That is amazing.
Oh?
It didn't just separate the groups, it preserved the relationships within them.
And that's its superpower. It keeps local neighbors together while making sure different groups stay far apart. It turns invisible patterns into a story you can actually see.
Which is why this matters so much. It lets us humans spot things we'd never, ever find otherwise. So here's a final thought for you. If tSNE can take thousands of messy handwritten numbers and organize them into perfect islands just by looking at pixels,
Right.
what would happen if you fed it your entire music playlist? Or maybe your entire social network? What hidden islands would pop up on that map of your life?
That is a fascinating and maybe slightly scary thought to end on.